2025. Thanking Hardy Souls for braving the cold and the snow to come and join us tonight. We'll start the meeting at 7:02 p.m. All to order. And I'll ask Clerk Stevens if you'll call roll call, please.
Lawrence.
Yes.
G. Mathers.
Yes.
M. Mathers.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Steers.
Yes.
Denman.
Here. Yes.
Okay, all trustees are present. Now, if you would, please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 2 on the agenda is approval of our agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by trustee Lawrence, supported by trustee M. Mathers to accept the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, pages 3 and 4 are the regular meeting minutes from February 3rd.
Make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes of 2/3/2025 as presented.
Did we find anything about page 25?
That was the bills. Last page was bills.
There was just an invoice in the packet twice. It was
Okay.
not paid twice.
That's what we assumed. Yep. Okay, there is a motion by Lawrence to accept the meeting minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Any motion by Lawrence, supported by Denman, to accept the meeting minutes as presented for 2/3/25. All in favor, say yes. Yes. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Pages 5 through 16 are our bills. We checked the bill here, I came up with 2002, 870, 83. Okay. $202,870.83. 202, 870, 83. Of which 153,000 some change is Three Rivers billings, bad charges and so on. Questions or discussion on the bills today? If not, I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of 202,870.
I do have one.
Okay.
With page 10, Byler Electric, is that just for bulbs, or are we paying them to, because this is like the third one in a row where,
I think this was just for bulk.
I think this bulb, yeah, you pull that out.
They also maintain them, but the place downtown.
Bulbs, I thought so.
just bulbs?
Yep.
So we replace them and they just supply them?
Yes.
Okay.
Other questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make that motion, we pay the bills in the amount of $202,870.83.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by trustee Piper, Hopper, supported by trustee M. Mathers, to pay the bill with the amount of $202,870.83. Roll please.
Denman,
Yes.
Steers,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
G. Mathers,
Yes.
M. Mathers,
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now is the time on the agenda for public comment. Anyone wishes to ask a question, address council, whatever, would you say, please go to the podium if you would.
Don't start until after I introduce myself. 3 minutes is ridiculous. Mark Vogue, 1035 South Washington Street. I am here to address the meeting scheduled for tomorrow. I'm looking at the law according to why we can have a public hearing meeting, and the only thing that I can find is litigation reasons. And if it has to do with MMPA and their share of the bill and what we citizens have to pay, I think we citizens should have a right to know the information in the litigation issues. If it is legal, the public should be aware. Any action taken tomorrow, I feel you shouldn't set rates during a session where it is not regularly scheduled. That is, and I will be watching for that. And I will be checking the minutes to see what is published about what I state, because everybody else in the village has a right to hear it. Special meetings should not have to happen if things are scheduled correctly. There shouldn't need to be rates set during a special meeting. I wish, per law, to have a copy of those minutes. I understand redactions may occur, but I have a right to those minutes. 3 minutes needs to be revisited. It is ridiculous. This is meant for public consumption, should have public participation. Tomorrow's meeting, I don't know how the rules are established for public participation in that, because it's a special meeting. And I guess I spoke very quickly. I was not able to elaborate on any of these things, but having a meeting and trying to set bill rates during a special session shouldn't happen. So I hope anything gets tabled and is done 2 weeks from tonight. Thank you.
Paige Willis, I just have a question. What paper do you guys publish your ordinances in once they're been approved?
Three Rivers Commercial.
Okay, do you guys just post it there for the maximum 8 days, or you guys do longer than that?
I'm sorry,
Do you guys just post them for the maximum that you're supposed to at 8 days, or do you guys do it longer than that?
no, we posted them one time.
Okay, and then when you guys pay the bills, cause there's always, like, the last meeting was, what, 300,000? And this one was this, is that every 2 weeks you pay that, or is that an additional, like, cause I don't understand why you're paying 300,000 2 weeks and then 200,000 this week? You understand what I'm saying? Why is it so much in 1 month?
Yes. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even be answering your questions. We pay the bills when we receive them.
And is there any talk about putting your guys' budgets online, on your guys' websites for the past years?
There hasn't been any talk about it yet. No.
Can that be brought up? Cause I was looking for them, looking at our, between you and I, looking for our emails, and I thought I had them, but I don't. And I would like,
For which budget?
the last like 4 or 5 years.
Oh.
Cause I just received mine from my village, and I want to compare
Okay.
salaries and stuff.
They are not online, but I can see to it you get a copy of them.
Okay, thank you. Shank, 385 South Washington Street. Still a very noisy place to live. My windows are still getting broken. Having been through several opportunities to study the Open Meetings Act, I have not had much to note attending these meetings because the public comment happens before most of the business takes place. And we have no opportunity to ask questions. The state law does recommend a time for public comment at the conclusion of the meeting. And so I would just like to make the suggestion that perhaps the public comment, which is only happening once at this meeting, should happen after the business takes place. So we have an opportunity to comment on it while it's still fresh in our minds. Thank you. I said comment, not question.
Anyone else like to speak tonight? Okay, if not, we'll close that portion of public comments. Visitor presentations, I know of none. Okay. Consent agenda, starts on page 17 with the manager report.
I'll make a motion, we accept the consent agendas as presented.
I'll second.
Who was the second? Motion by Lawrence, supported by M. Mathers, to accept the consent agenda as presented. Comments, questions?
May I comment? The DPW started at 2 o'clock this morning to clear the roads. And the spreader for the salt and sand was not working, but they did a whale of a job getting, I thought, the streets all cleared to pristine conditions. I was fabulously impressed at how quickly they got it done and how clear the roads and the sidewalks were. On a side note, the DPW, I'm sorry, there was a crash this morning involving the DPW backhoe and a motorist on Riverside Drive. The backhoe was not severely damaged. The driver was not hurt at all. It appears that, and we've got this from witness statements too, that the striking vehicle was traveling at an excessive speed, and it looks like he just barely clipped the backhoe, like I say, causing very little damage, but also hit a second vehicle that was on the side of the road. So I just wanted to keep you up to date, or keep you apprised of that, let you know that everybody's okay, and I just, again, glowing report about the work that they did this morning.
Questions or comments for anyone? Okay. We do have a motion, I don't think we voted yet. Lawrence voted made a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented, supported by M. Mathers. All in favor, please say yes. Yes. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Unfinished business, we have none that I'm aware of.
No, correct.
Under new business, Page 21 of the packet is FOP contract, 2025 and 2028.
Yes, because on April 1 and expires on March 31 of 2028. I'm only assuming that most or all of you have taken a look at the contract, but there is one correction. The wages were calculated by the FOP and they've got them wrong. They've actually got them lower than they are. In essence, if you increase the wages by about 5% per officer, per officer, that would be essentially correct, and the sergeant makes 10% more than patrolman. So with that caveat, with the contract does fairly represent what was agreed upon. If you choose not to, if you choose to wait until you actually have the pay schedule in front of you, I'm okay with that. The next meeting would be March the 3rd, so there is still time to get it resolved before well before the contract takes effect. If anybody has any questions about that contract, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
I have a question. On page 24, under overtime, it says overtime for full-time employees shall consist of authorized work in excess of the number of hours in any scheduled workday. Why aren't the hours defined? 8 hours a day is what you're talking about? The hours should be defined. It says number of hours in any scheduled workday or work week. How many hours can you be scheduled in a day?
Depends on the schedule, but typically they're scheduled to work 12-hour days, or 40-hour weeks. So it actually is 44 one week and 36 the next, but so.
I think that should be defined in the contract.
It changes.
How can it change?
The schedule can change if the chief needs to have a different schedule.
So why can't the schedule be added in to the contract? The different schedules can be added into the contract, work hours.
The chief is salary though, right?
Yes, chief of salary, that's correct. But the schedule could change any time during the contract, it depends on need.
Okay, my question is this, if you're saying they normally schedule at 12-hour shifts, or 12-hour shifts, then why isn't it 12, what would change? What would make that change to 12-hour shift?
Chief?
Needs. There are a lot of reasons we could change. Right now, our goal is to get to 24/7, which means 12-hour shifts right now. But if you want to give us funding for 8 more bodies, then we wouldn't need 12-hour shifts.
I would give you funding for all of it, but we're too busy.
There's a lot of
spending money on other
factors that
things.
go in. Depends on the school schedule and events that we have going on there, or events in either community that we might have to attend to.
So you're saying a normal work day is 12 hours at straight time. You don't get overtime until after 12 hours in a day?
Correct.
Okay.
But you can only work 16?
I can only schedule for 16. But at hour 15, you get tied up on homicide, you're not going home, so.
Isn't there, what do you get paid after 16 hours? There's gonna be times in emergencies where you're stuck for 16 hours. Over
It's
16.
possible. It's
What do you
possible.
get paid for that?
Time and a half, over the schedule that day. So whatever the schedule shows, and I post that 4 weeks in advance.
So how do you guys deal with, isn't it a Michigan law, 16 hours is the cap?
Schedule. Right.
They can't be scheduled for more than 16, but there's gonna be emergencies where they have to
Right.
work more than 16.
Right.
My other question is there a police chief in Centerville and Constantine? You're the chief of both?
Right. It's only one department.
Right. Okay, I wondered, I heard that.
Right.
Is there a reason not to just put it at after 40 hours, or what is the?
Because it's a daily thing with police contracts and probably any government contract, so if you call in sick today and tomorrow you still work 12, you still get the overtime if you go past 12, even if you only worked one 12-hour day for the week.
So you're saying you can change the schedule anytime you want,
No,
to whatever you want? Cause is the schedule defined in here somewhere?
I doubt
I
it.
didn't see it.
I doubt it. No, that's just very uncommon because you have to flex with the needs. So again, I posted 4 weeks in advance, but to define it in a contract like that and lock us in for 3 years and say this is what you have to work the next 3 years, funding changes, bodies change, we go up, down, whatever, needs change.
Okay. Well, I personally think we should add 2 weeks to review it, because I think there's a lot of, one, I don't wanna agree to a contract where there's misspellings and errors, and obviously there's a financial difference. And second, I think everybody needs more time to review what's in the contract, cause I found 4 or 5 things that I wondered about already. So, that's just my opinion.
I agree with that.
I mean,
We've had this since Friday.
there's not a hard deadline, because they can't go on strike anyway. So if it wasn't signed by April 1st, they'd keep working anyway. But it would be, if you waited 2 weeks, it could still be done.
I don't have a problem
Okay.
with postponing a decision until
Okay.
March 3rd. I would have a problem with pushing it past that.
Yeah,
My budget is gonna be dependent, at least in part on.
I want a final contract that, without any mistakes or any errors, that we can say, this is what we agreed to.
Yeah, I understand that. I grant you, it's chock full of probably too strong a term, but there are a lot of typos in there that we've already spoken about that need to be corrected, so.
And the other question I have is, when are we gonna get to, I thought by combining with Centerville, we were gonna get to a point where you weren't gonna be patrolling, you were gonna be the chief.
Once we're done training, the 2 that we have in training, that is the goal.
How long is that gonna be?
Last week was the start of the second half, so we have 2 more months.
Okay.
And by goal, do you mean that if nobody takes any PTO or is off,
Correct.
so anytime anybody takes any PTO or anything, you will still be stuck?
Not stuck, but I will definitely be available to help cover, because our goal is 24-hour coverage. I wanna make sure that happens. So,
Well, I think you should be the chief, and you shouldn't be out on the road unless it's absolutely necessary. Because obviously you have a lot of stuff to do in here that's not getting done at all.
it's not getting done.
That's right. And that's not good for the village.
Right. But the guys are getting trained the way I want them,
Okay.
so.
Well, I don't have a problem with training.
Right.
I just don't think, I think you doing your job in the office is just as important as proper training.
It is.
So, all right.
Well, we're fortunate and lucky to have the force we do have here in this village.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah, we've got one of the best forces we've had in a long time, and our chief is an organizer, and he's a good one.
I think he should be the chief too, not, I mean, when you ask him what's going on in the situation, well, I'm a couple months behind on my paperwork. He shouldn't be behind because he should
I
be doing the
agree,
chief's
he
job.
should not be behind.
But he can't help it if he's out riding around in a car.
Well, the training has taken quite a bit of those hours, right? You have to ride with.
2 months so far.
Yes, so hopefully once these new officers are in place and everything, then hopefully a little relief can come.
Right.
your way.
In other places you've worked, is there someone that is typically under the chief that is more responsible for training, or is that solely a
Well,
chief?
my last department, we had hundreds of people assigned to training. That was the state police. So, yeah, the colonel had 1,000 people working for him, just staff to administer things. I have,
My last department, I think there were 6, but that was a 30-man department, as opposed to whatever it is, 7 right now, so.
And the Centerville deal is going well.
excellent,
Good.
excellent. In fact, there was an article in the newspaper in a 3-hour commercial, I think yesterday is when it posted. Anyone interested in reading that?
Good.
Do you have somebody to help you with paperwork, like an administrative assistant or anything, or?
You don't have.
Yes and no. With a lot of the paperwork, I guess because of my standards, then I will be the one reviewing reports and that kind of stuff, until I can find somebody that will hold the standard that I do.
Did we
There's a
used to
member
have
town.
one? Did we used to have one?
So what you're saying is if we figured out a way to get you a secretary to help you, would you have
No.
a problem with that?
No.
You don't want one?
It's not that. I need someone that knows not just grammar, punctuation. I need somebody that knows how to write a police report, how to get things through court, how to get testified. I mean, there's a lot to a police report. It's not just grammar, it's just not just
Well, I understand that, but
reading a story, you know.
so there's no way we could get you help with what you're doing, that you would be okay with?
If we find the right body, but right now I can tell you, I don't have that person that I can train for that.
Well, we haven't tried to look either though, have we?
We have.
We have?
We have. But again, come April 1st, once these two are done with training, I'm gonna have that time in the office a whole lot more than I do now. Because I won't be the one out there primarily taking complaints and training and whatnot, so. Give me till about July and then we can reissue, or rediscuss this and see from there, but my hope is once these two are on the road, and I don't have to be, things are gonna be a whole lot better.
So when you were chief, you didn't have anybody to help you, or you did?
Well, when I was chief, I was also the village manager, I did have an administrative assistant. But the administrative.
How did that work? Cause I thought, when I asked if I could work for the DPW, you said it was a conflict of interest, and it's never happened before where you assumed two total titles.
Well, the chief was a different animal. If your question is, can you work on the council and work in the DPW? Problem with that is that you would be your own boss. That creates a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Okay. And I agree, I think we should go ahead and move this back till the next meeting. Give everybody a chance to read it again, get some of the typos corrected. But next meeting, let's get it worked on, get it done. Okay, next item, Chief Hayden, proposed tanker purchase.
You don't need to do a motion to table it?
Yeah,
It's on the agenda?
I think we do.
I make a motion that we table the contract review until the next meeting.
And will we have this prior to the Friday before our meeting, or will it be the same Friday with 2 days to review?
I can't answer that question, it's whether or not I've got all the information I need by that time, but I feature that you'll have it at least a week before the meeting.
Okay, so there has been a motion made to postpone the next meeting, or postpone the discussion on the FOI contract to the next meeting.
And no entertainment.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed, no. Motion carries.
Can I ask who's the second on that one?
And I didn't hear the second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Chief Hayden.
Okay, you guys have in your packet a used fire truck. We had in the past requested permission to purchase a new one, which would currently, if we ordered it today, would be 22 months out because of supply chain and all the other kind of different things. One of our guys found this used tanker. I'm not generally in favor of buying used equipment because you're buying somebody else's problems. But this truck, the chassis came from a delivery vehicle that used to deliver windows, so it was like a box truck type delivery vehicle. The gentleman who has it buys used vehicles, refurbishes, checks them out, and goes through the process of, in this case, building it into a tanker. It is a 2018 and only has 10,000 miles on it. It's a Detroit diesel engine. I think it's on your back page of the proposal. There's a list of different things. 4 of us went on the 8th and looked at this truck in Canada. We believe it will do everything that the truck we're replacing does. So it's going to save about $100,000 buying this truck versus buying a new truck. Again, it does pretty much everything that we're going to need it to do. This is not our first out tanker, it is a backup tanker, and it's one we would take on a mutual aid call. Last year, the truck we're replacing ran 8 times, I think they told me. So it's not a primary vehicle. Even though it's a 2018, I think we'll still get 15, 18 years out of it, because of, well, the motor for one thing, they're pretty good. Diesel, the Detroit diesel motor in these is a good truck motor. So what I'm looking for tonight is permission to purchase this truck on the Village's side. Constantine Township approved it last night, and one of my captains is at Florence Township tonight, proposing it.
Township approved it
Last Tuesday, yep.
Okay.
So I'm looking for permission to purchase it. The village portion would be 62,000. It says 250. It should be $62,050. So apologize for that. It is broken out into a 25-75% split from the townships to the village. It's a tanker truck, which generally goes out to the township fires. But with the village water system, we use the tanker in town for major structure fires or even large house fires. So because of the water system and the water pressure we have, there are some times when we have to, we bring in a ladder truck or for whatever, use it. So that's why we're asking the village to also participate. I'll answer any questions you guys have.
Do we have one now?
Yes.
What's
It's
wrong
an
with it?
89. The last DOT inspection we had, the way the frame's made, there's 2 rails that go side by side, and there's sand or rust and stuff got in there and it's splitting. So the person that does our inspection says it's just a matter of time when it won't pass DOT. It can, for other purposes, be welded, fixed, or whatever, but in an emergency vehicle, it cannot be done.
Is the tank on it in bad shape?
The tank on it is starting to show some problems. This gentleman who's selling this would be also interested in purchasing that tanker, possibly for the tank and then putting it on another chassis.
That's what I was gonna say, would it be cheaper to put that tank on a different chassis than buy a new truck? If the tank's in good shape?
We did not look into that option.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you, we did not look into that option. We did look at, buying another chassis and putting it under it, but we didn't get any pricing or quotes or anything on that.
Does the current vehicle sit outside?
No. All of ours are housed inside. It would just be the Michigan winters that we did. And it's an 89, and it's not, I mean, it's paid its dues.
Those things, everything sticks to those things. Yeah.
The other thing we've got going for us is, like I said, this is it's not the primary first out truck, but when we have this truck, this is 2,900 gallons, the one we have now is 3,000, so we're losing 100 gallons, that's not a big deal, but when we can roll out to a fire, we'll have 7,000 gallons of water with 3 trucks.
Yeah.
Did he give you any idea what the old truck's worth?
No, I got some pictures that I took that I'm sending to him, and then he'll look at it. It's gonna be, we were estimating, just to look at used tankers and things like that we would be lucky to get 15,000 out of it. But he seems to think that he can revive this tank and then put it onto another truck. Because he'll buy another used chassis like this, refurbish it. In your packet, on January 9th, it was at a Freightliner dealership to be checked over, and it passed this, what they call a safety inspection, which is our DOT inspection in the US.
So if you sold the old truck, does that then just go into the firefighter fund, or does that come back to the village?
The used tank, the tanker we have now was bought back in the day by Florence Township and Constantine Township, so whatever cost or whatever money comes in on that would be split back to them. Back in the day, there was a village fire department and a township fire department housed in the same building. over the years, we've transitioned to where everything's on freeways.
So, the total purchase price is $249,000,
Yes,
and it says 25%, Village of Constantine, 25%, $62,250.
right, should be 62,050.
Yeah, that's what I meant, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's our total cost,
Yes,
okay, cause I just, down here it says Constantine 112,050, and,
That's the
that's a
township.
township,
okay.
Constantine Township and Florence Township.
Well, I personally believe in the police department, the fire department should get everything they need, so I make a motion that we buy it.
You guys, I heard that. Yep, go ahead. Okay, motion on the floor is to allocate $62,050 for our portion, purchase of a new tanker, fire truck.
62,250.
Oh, no, 62,050. It was changed.
It was a typo.
Okay, okay.
We're 25% worked out.
So it's housed at our location then?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Any further questions? Okay. You ready for roll, please?
King,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
G. Mathers,
Yes.
M. Mathers,
Yes.
Piper,
Yes.
Steers,
Yes.
Denman.
Yes.
The motion carries. And that is the entirety of our agenda for tonight. Good meeting.
I do have one more quick question. I'm sorry, I should have asked them. So you negotiate the union contract with the police officers?
Yeah.
Who negotiates for them? The chief?
Pardon me?
Who represents the police department in the negotiation?
A designated person designated by the police department.
Okay, okay.
And there's, they have a representative from the FOP.
Okay.
Would this put you comparable to other townships?
I'm not part of the negotiation, you'd have to ask these guys.
Does this contract put us comparable to other townships then?
As near as I can tell, I think this is probably a little bit higher than the, I don't know about White Pigeon. I asked their clerk and did not get an answer, but I think we are at least in a very similar realm as the other fire departments, the other small fire departments. So certainly nothing like Three Rivers or probably Fabius Township, but, yeah.
All right, thank you everyone. Kathy?
I would like to make, I can make a motion, can I?
Sure.
Can I make a motion that the personnel committee gets together to talk about how to go about, village manager? It's gonna take some time,
You wanna go about what?
finding a new village manager.
Find that, find,
Okay.
Okay, I have a question. Before you do that, that's my question. You're saying you're gonna retire in a year. How long do you recommend that we have somebody with you to learn the job before you retire? I mean, there's a lot.
Yes, there is.
What is the norm? Is there a normal?
Mine was 5 days.
Well, okay,
But
that's what I'm saying.
that's
What
not-
do you recommend?
I would say 3 to 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks.
I would say 2 to 3 months.
I was
Well,
gonna say at
I
least
wouldn't complain about that, but,
6 months.
I mean, I definitely would hope it would be at least 60 to 90 days.
all right.
I mean, because we have so much stuff going on, I don't want anything, and the reason I say that is because executive assistants have been coming and going, clerks have been coming and going, so whoever that replacement is, first we gotta figure out how we're gonna find it, second, we gotta figure out who it's gonna be, and when we do, that person should shadow you for a while to get in tune with everything going on, because we have a lot of stuff going on.
This has not been a good year for personnel. I counted them up, I think we've lost, well, obviously we lost a billing clerk, and then another billing clerk, an administrative assistant, and then another administrative assistant. We in desperate need of a bookkeeper, and we're turning every rock we can find
Right.
to get people to apply. I don't know why in the world it's so difficult to get somebody to apply, but I wouldn't complain about 90 days to train the person. I'm just saying
What is-
that at
what-
minimum.
What do you guys think we should do? How long do we,
At least 60.
at least 60
At
days?
least.
As much time as possible, yeah.
Right. At least 60, if not more,
I mean,
or 90.
Yeah.
Your contract ends March 1st of next year, right?
That is correct.
So, to have somebody in place by, say, January 1st, yeah, we need to start the search in the next 3 or 4 months to find somebody, for sure.
So, yeah, we probably need to start it before
Sooner
then.
than that.
And that's hoping we get the right person the first time.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
That's very well stated, yes, sir.
yes.
Sometimes the hires flame out, sometimes they work out well.
Sometimes we could get somebody that's there 30 days and goes, this is too much, I'm not doing it. I want to make sure we're doing it right, so we get the right person.
Good, find me a bookkeeper.
Well, I mean, I can't find you a bookkeeper, but with all due respect to the bookkeeper, I wouldn't want to do your job.
Nobody wants
We
to
do
do
some
my job
work.
here.
Yeah, having the right village manager is ultra important to what we got going forward. We got a lot of stuff coming up that we need to right.
Speak.
Are you here a second? You wanna withdraw based on the conversation, or you wanna make a motion? Or-
I second.
You did second it?
Yeah, I second it.
And the motion was?
Motion was finding a new village manager for the retired, the
Personnel committee, go ahead.
Starting a
Personnel
personnel.
committee needs to start, strategy to find a new village manager.
What I will tell you is, and I think I've mentioned this before, Michigan Municipal League will help us do a search. And I think they would be a terrific resource. That's not to say keep the personnel committee out. No, I agree that they should
Well-
be involved in that process.
And not the personnel committee can start the procedures of how to get in contact with Michigan Municipal. I did contact them a year ago, I think, about it, and there was some stuff they needed to know, if there was ordinance, if we had some other stuff, and I didn't go in detail with it, but, there is some stuff that needs to be looked into, so.
Well, I think it'd also be important that everybody on the committee maybe writes out a survey of what they want in a village manager. Because I mean, we're all gonna be around for a while. So well, some of them, okay, the majority of us are gonna be around for a while, and we're gonna have to deal with it, deal with the new manager. So we need to make sure that we're getting what we think the village manager should be.
A lot of history to deal with.
Well, the problem is, no, I'm not gonna get into it.
Okay, we do have a motion on the floor by Piper, supported by King. Personnel committee needs to start strategizing to find a new village manager with the help of Michigan Municipal League. All together, Kathy? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries.
So who is the personnel committee now? Me, you,
You, Myra,
Richard,
Richard, okay.
am I right yourself?
all right.
Is our new administrative assistant working out okay?
I'll tell you preliminarily, yes, I think that she has tremendous promise, but I can tell you she's feeling overwhelmed right now. That's not a surprise, it's such a diverse job, but, she has the capacity, plus a whole lot more. She's a very intelligent woman, and she's very pleasant to work with. I have very high hopes for her.
And at the last meeting, we decided to apply for the grant for the, I can't remember what it was called. Has that got started already?
No, no, it hasn't.
Does Clayton write that, or?
He said he would come in and sit down with whoever and basically show him how to do it.
Do the whole thing,
And he has, but, no, that's,
Okay, I wanna get it in as quick as we can so we can reapply in October if possible.
Has the old DNS or the new fire station gone anywhere either?
not yet, still working on it.
I'm trying to win the lottery, man. I've been buying tickets.
Yeah, it's not a lot of it, it's a matter of getting everything arranged with the
I
development.
know, I've been trying to do it.
So we've got the grant, and I did check with, Congressman Wahlberg's office. As far as he knows, the grant is still ours, I guess, for lack of a better term. There was a question about it after the election, but, not that one specifically, but about whose grants might be affected. So, I know that's kind of a weird way to put that, but
Yeah.
I was concerned, and our attorneys suggested that I contact Congressman Wahlberg's office, and my contact there says, right now, we're good to go. We don't anticipate
But the more delay meant, the further the possibility that it could lose grant funding?
I don't know. I don't know. It's, I don't think that it's likely that we're gonna lose any portion of the grant funding. But
It's possible.
bear in mind with, the president's, pulling back on funding, I should say pulling back, but that there is a
Limit.
question about whether all the funding is going to happen at the federal level. I mean, that's where we are with that, so.
I don't think his cuts are gonna affect that. That's just my opinion.
Thank you all for attending tonight's meeting, thank you trustees, and we'll adjourn at 7:49.
Florida, huh? For one.